The 5th and 6th graders at Blue Hill Elementary would like to recognize the 79th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Time will not erase the actions and memory of the heroic deeds of these Pearl Harbor survivors. We hope you enjoy this video and learn more about this important event in United States history.
This is Class 5A from Blue Hill Elementary in Blue Hill, Nebraska.
The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941.
Pearl Harbor is a naval base on Oahu Island, Hawaii.
After this attack, the United States entered World War II.
The first Japanese dive bomber appeared over Pearl Harbor at 7:55 a.m. local time.
The entire attack took only 1 hour and 15 minutes.
The Japanese strike consisted 353 aircraft launched from 4 heavy carriers.
The attack killed 2,400 United States personnel, including 68 civilians. It destroyed or damaged 19 United States naval ships, including 8 battleships.
The 3 aircraft carriers of the United States Postal Fleet were out to sea on maneuvers. The Japanese were unable to locate them.
The battleship USS Arizona remained sunken in Pearl Harbor with its crew on board. Half of the dead at Pearl Harbor were on the USS Arizona.
A U.S. flag flies above the sunken battleship as a memorial to all Americans who died.
This is Class 5B from Blue Hill Elementary.
The 5th and 6th graders watched the movie Lifeline, Pearl Harbor's Unknown Hero. This is the story how Joe George saved 6 men's lives at Pearl Harbor. Joe George was a true American hero who did the right thing.
Donald Stratton and Joe George did not know each other before Pearl Harbor. This was the only time these two sailors would see and speak to each other again.
Don was born and raised in Nebraska. He graduated from Red Cloud High School. Don was married to Velma. Together they had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Don lived to the age of 97 and is buried in Red Cloud, Nebraska.
Don served in the Navy aboard the USS Arizona when it was bombed by the Japanese. He was burned over 60% of his body. He recovered from his injuries and re-enlisted in the Navy. He went on to serve on other ships during World War II.
Joe George was born in Franklin, Georgia. He was stationed on the USS Vessel repair ship and was 26 years old at the time of Pearl Harbor. Joe would later marry Thelma and they had 2 daughters. Joe is buried in the Little Rock National Cemetery.
Don and 5 other crew members were stranded on the burning Arizona. When they saw Joe working on the deck of the vessel, Joe was ordered to cut the lines to free the vessel to keep it from sinking.
Joe heard the men yelling from the Arizona. He disobeyed the direct order. He did the right thing. Joe is a big, strong amateur boxer. He was able to throw a monkey fist to Don and 5 other men. A monkey fist is a ball of rope with a heavier rope attached to it. Once the rope was tied to the Arizona, the men started climbing hand over hand to the nearby vessel. All the men survived the dangerous climb over the fiery water and made it on board the vessel.
Joe never saw these men again and didn't even know if they survived. Alvin DeVore, the most severe burn, died on Christmas Eve night. The remaining 5 sailors survived their wounds and lived to have families of their own.
Don Stratton and his son Randy searched for years to find this unknown hero. When they did find out his name, Thelma George had to tell them that Joe died in 1996. They also learned that Joe was commended for his actions in his official military logbook. However, he never received a medal for his brave actions. The Stratton family, fellow Arizona survivor, Lauren Bruner, and Joanne Taylor worked for many years to see that Joe was awarded his much-deserved medal.
It took over 16 years, a trip to Washington, D.C., many calls and letters to the military, and a final meeting between Don Stratton and his Colorado State Senator, Cory Gardner, to finally get the medal awarded to Joe. On December 7, 2017, the Bronze Star with the V for Valor was bestowed upon Joe George. His daughter Joanne accepted the medal on his behalf. This historical event took place on the Pearl Harbor Memorial. Joe, a brave, gutsy sailor who did the right thing, was finally recognized for saving the lives of his fellow sailors.
In November, the 6B class of Blue Hill Elementary got the opportunity to FaceTime Randy Stratton. Randy is Donald Stratton's son. He showed us many artifacts and shared Don's life with us. Don experienced many hardships even after the Pearl Harbor bombing. He persevered and had a long life with his caring family.
You guys keep it alive and be able to tell the stories when you get older. That's the great thing about this, and we appreciate the book very much. You guys did a great job on the book with my dad and Joe George. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the heroism of Joe George. They're called collector coins, and this is kind of the coin we had built. Shows my dad at the shrine room, and then we have a lot of Medal of Honor winners. How many have heard of Hacksaw Ridge?
Me.
Desmond Dawes.
Yes, it's a movie actually. I'm pretty sure it's a movie, right?
Yep.
I've seen it.
Hacksaw Ridge, Desmond Dawes sent us his. We have Woody Williams, which was a Medal of Honor winner from Iwo Jima. Like I say, we got 150 coins on there from all the different people, Purple Hearts to Marines to people that lost their lives in Vietnam, all the different places. The 75th anniversary. Like I say, Brent Casey, USS Arizona medal too as well. I mean, you can see. So, like I say, we've got a lot of them, and we're trying to add more to it. This one is one of the Medal of Honor winners, Woody Williams, and it shows his Medal of Honor on there too as well. So kind of a neat collection. Got my dad, my brother. My brother's the one up top up there. And then next to him is the Joe George. So those three are probably the most important ones of all. This is kind of unique too. This is oil from the USS Arizona.
Oh, cool.
So that one still, you can see it moving, and it'll go up. Still be.
That's cool.
And they took this out of the off the Arizona. The divers went down and got that for us, and took it out of the mess hall because all the oil leaks into the mess hall and into the ceiling, and then it leaks out a little bit at a time. And I'm sure you've maybe seen this. This is the action figure that they had displayed out at Hawaii of my dad, and then it has it in a book, not in a book, but in a box. And then we also have one of we got a few Arizona ships, and then we have a piece of the Arizona where my dad's battle station was, in a cross. He wanted one with the cross on it, so we had that mailed to us. The Navy was generous to be able to give us all that for us. And then this is probably one of the most special things that we have. This is the radio that my dad's mom and dad listened to about the bombing of the Pearl Harbor and knowing that they bombed Pearl Harbor that day and didn't know whether or not my dad survived or not. And that's the radio that they listened to. That radio is almost 100 years old.
Wow.
This is probably one of the most special things of all. This is what was in my dad's pocket. You can see how charred and burned they are. It was a knife and his toenail clippers. That's what he had in his pocket. That's all he got off of the Arizona was just those two things. 22 5-inch guns like this one. This one's off the Arizona. And this is the rifling. So you can see the rifling on, and that's how the shell would come out of there. And that's off the Arizona, off of one of the 22 guns that were on the Arizona.
Wow.
Here's a very special thing too as well. This was his lighter that was with him in on the USS Arizona. And then we've collected many shells of the 21 gun salutes that are all out on the memorial. And then you'll get a kick out of this one. This is a great big piece, and you can see the bullet holes through the metal of this where it was on the USS Arizona that day. So this is a piece of the Arizona with bullet holes on it. You know, for the first 25 years, I never knew my dad was really on the USS Arizona because it wasn't that popular back then like it is now. But my father never really spoke of the USS Arizona and never spoke of what happened to him that day. And I knew he got burned real bad, and I could see the scars on his arms. And, you know, we were always told not to go in and wake him up because a sudden loud noise, he would jump. And he still did it all the way to the end of his life. And, you know, my dad, like I say, the first time I seen my dad cry was when it was the 25th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, and I've never seen my dad cry, and he was crying that day. And I thought, man, I was in 7th grade at the time. And I thought, wow, there's something special about this. So that's when I kind of got more involved with the Arizona and the legacy and what my dad has, you know, done. You know, and then once he got out of the service, you know, he always wanted to be on the ocean. He loved the ocean so much. Even after he got burned, you know, he went back on board the USS Stack and finished the war. But when he got out, we went back to Santa Barbara, and he got on with my uncle, who was an underwater diver, and he traveled all over the world putting in all their oil pipelines in Alaska, Kuwait, Saudi, South America. I mean, he was all over the world, and he loved being on the ocean. And, you know, like I say, he never considered himself a hero at all. It was always the guys who left their, you know, got killed that day, left their life. He always thought that they were the heroes. My dad, one thing, if you ever notice about my dad, most of the guys would walk out with the Hawaii hat on and Hawaii shirts and all those other things to go out to pay their respects at the memorial. My dad always wore a suit and tie. And they asked him, why do you wear a suit and tie? And he says, because of respect. That's how much respect I have for all those guys who gave their lives for our country that day.
Donald Stratton is a survivor.
Passionate,
Brave.
Inspirational.
Committed.
Thoughtful.
Tough. Patriotic.
Daring. Hardworking.
Loving.
Caring.
Honorable.
The 6A class from Blue Hill Elementary FaceTimed Joanne Taylor in November of this year. We learned about Pearl Harbor and her father, hero, Joe George. We are grateful to Joanne for this remarkable opportunity.
The coin came about because we made a trip to Washington, D.C., the two survivors, Lauren Bruner and Donald Stratton, and we were on a quest to get my father recognized to receive a medal. And so when I got back from Washington, D.C., we saw the president, we saw many senators, we saw the Secretary of the Navy, Joint Chiefs of Staff, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Secretary of Defense, General Mattis. And so it's a typical tradition when a lot of military and also law enforcement, they have what they call them challenge coins, and they present, usually they give them to somebody that they want to honor, you know, that they feel that they want to honor. And so when I got back home, my husband said, we need to have some coins so we do that too. So my husband actually designed that coin from a picture of my father, and he designed it, sent it in, and then we bought a bunch of those coins, and we give them out to people that we want to honor.
How does it feel to have him as a dad?
It feels wonderful, sweetie. It's, you know, my dad was, it feels really wonderful, and it makes you feel proud and honored to know that your father, to see that they have that deep-seated character that he displayed on that day. You know what I say too? I call her my granny, his mother. She was the devout, beautiful little Christian woman, and I know what she did. As his mother off at a war like that, I know she prayed for him and cared for him all the time in her heart. And I'd like to think that, you know, that's part of why he had the character. He grew up on a farm, and he had strong, deep character. And it feels good to know that your father has a moral character that he would choose to do over all things, because, you know, my father could have completely destroyed his career in the Navy by doing what he did, by not obeying an order. I mean, take away the side that they tried to get him a medal. That a medal's, it's something nice and it's wonderful to be recognized that way, but it's not everything, hon. What he did was the wonderful thing, is that he chose selflessly to save those men's lives over what could have really happened to him. And then, you know, he could have been thrown out of the Navy, and a lot of things happened to him because he made that choice. But, you know, that's what feels good, because I'm a Christian lady too, and so it feels good to know that my father trusted in the Lord and did what was right in that moment in time. I always say that what I'm so proud of my father about, I know that God put him there in that moment in time, and I'm so proud and honored that he did what he did on that day, the right thing. It makes me so proud, hon, it does. I love him, and I would love him the same no matter what, but then but that brings pride into my life that he chose that way.
Okay, my question is, what does it feel like for you to learn new things about your dad that he didn't tell you?
That's a good question, honey. It feels, do you understand surreal, the word surreal? It kind of feels surreal when you find these things out about your dad, because y'all have, you know, moms and dads, and you look at your dad, you don't look at your dad as a hero. He's just a person in your life, you know, that takes care of you, you know, provides for you, is a part of your family interaction. And that's how I knew my father. And so to begin to hear these stories about my father, because I don't, you know, I know the story, and I call him a hero because I know the story, but in my life, he was my father hero, like all you kids, your father is your father hero, and that was, he was to me. So it was kind of surreal, and, you know, you did have to pinch yourself a lot to hear people telling the stories about what he did, because he never told us about him. So, you know, I just didn't see my father in the things that he did. I saw him as my dad. That's how I saw him. This is his medal. This is his Bronze Star with Valor that he got on the USS Arizona after in December 7th, 2017. So that's a really special thing for me to have. I have a lot of things of my father. Here's what he used to wear all the time.
Oh.
When he around when he go to meetings and stuff. This says Pearl Harbor survivors. So you see a lot of the Pearl Harbor survivors when you see pictures of them. You'll see them with this hat on, this hat like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this of my father's. I have his logbook. I should have had that out here. I wished I had it, because you kids have probably never seen one. But I will tell you, when we went to see General Mattis in Washington D.C., it's like a little leather book, and everything today is on computers. Back then it wasn't. They had to put everything in a book. Every single thing that you did, they logged into this book, and it's about this long. It unfolds, and it folds up to about this long. It folds in threes. And in that book is written what my father did on December 7th by Casson Young. Casson Young was the first Medal of Honor winner of the war, of World War II. He won the first Medal of Honor in World War II. His name was Casson Young, and he was my father's commander on that ship. And in my father's logbook is written that my father saved these men. That's how we really ended up getting him the medal, because we had that logbook, we had that proof. And Casson Young, everybody knows who he is. And when I brought that logbook, and in front of General Mattis and the Secretary of the Navy and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I put it on a table when we went to meet them. It was the two survivors and myself that sat at a table with those highest ranking in the country men, and I put that little logbook on the table, and it was I could run into the room and get it, but it was like a treasure to them. They looked at it, they saw what was written in the logbook, but they wouldn't even fold it back the way it was. It was almost like it was some reverend thing that they didn't want to touch. And so I have that. That is just such a treasured thing for me. And this is my father always had this. This is called the Lone Sailor. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And this Lone Sailor, they have a big statue exactly like this in front of the Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C. My father loved that statue, and I have, I have so many things. This is a replica that this man made me, that sent to me. People give you lots of beautiful gifts. And that's the Vestal. That's the USS Vestal, the ship that was on. And this man made this replica of my father's ship and sent it to me.
If your dad was here today, what would you say to him?
Oh my gosh, I would just tell him, that's a great question. You're going to make me cry. I would tell him how honestly proud I would tell my father how proud I am of him, that I just can't believe what he did, but am so very, very proud of the man that he truly is inside of him. And I would tell him how much I love him. And I would say, why didn't you tell us what you did? I would ask him that. Why you didn't share with our family what you did? My sister, my mother, and I would have loved our father to tell us those things. But I will tell you this, honey. If you knew my father, he wasn't the kind of person that would have wanted accolades and praise and stuff. And I told many people this about my father, and this is the gospel truth. My father would say to me, after doing done and trying to get him recognized like that, he would say to me, Joanne, what are you doing? That's what my father would say, because he wouldn't really have wanted a bunch of recognition. I don't think he would have ever wanted that, to tell you the truth. A lot of this I think I feel led to do because my mother, she wanted my father to be recognized for what he did.
That's awesome.
So I would tell him very, very proud I am. Thank you for that question.
You guys, what do we tell Joanne for meeting with us?
Thank you.
Joanne, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I truly mean it. You guys, I have all possessions. These are one of my most precious possessions I've ever received. Thank you for them. I love each and every one of them.
What do you tell her, you guys?
Thank you.
And you're welcome, right? You are happy to do that.
Thanksgiving.
Same to you, Joanne. You take care. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Joe George is devoted,
Courageous.
hardworking,
Loving.
Stubborn.
Selfless.
Tough.
Unselfish.
Brave.
Dependable.
Inspiring.
Strong.
Fun-loving.
A hero.
Thanks for watching our video. We would like to thank Randy Stratton and Joanne Taylor for sharing the miraculous stories of their fathers' lives. We recommend watching Lifeline Pearl Harbor's Unknown Hero. Thanks again from the 5th and 6th graders of Blue Hill Elementary in Blue Hill, Nebraska.